Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, the icon suit. Well, the motherfucking icon suit. Let me take a drink. I want to welcome you here. It's the Icon Soup. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to talk about some shit with the HWF. You know, the motherfucking Icon Soup thing. It's funny. When we started the reboot in 2014, we had Facebook. You know, when we started HWF, it was in 1997. We had no Facebook. We had no YouTube. We didn't have any of this stuff. So, coming into it, 2014, I put everything on YouTube. So you can go back and watch everything else. So, we didn't have this shit on back in 1997. So the motherfucking Icon suit started in 2014. We came back. Everybody on the internet, the backyard wrestlers on Facebook, they love that. The motherfucking Icon suit. Big props, We used to, me and Suicide Kid, when we came back in 2014, this dude, Ryan, went on YouTube and he started a backyard wrestling show called The Front Yard. So go check it out, The Front Yard. It's on YouTube. And he hyped our match. 2014, we had a good run in 2014, but I'll get to that later. HWF, House Wrestling Federation. I've been thinking a lot about this. It was me and my three brothers, Balls and Big Sexy, and my oldest brother, Scott. We started in 1991 or 92, and it was HWF, House Wrestling Federation. And we just wrestled in our living room, just the four of us. And sometimes my brother, Big Sexy's friends would come over and they would cheer us on. Big Chief, who would come back in HWF later, and Adam John, and Crazy, who would actually come back later too, as Crazy. We did that as brothers, and in 1996 I met Dean, the Dean, Dangerous Dean, and I found out he was into wrestling, and I said, let's backyard wrestle, let's start it up again. Backyard wrestling kind of wasn't a term back in the day. We started back up in 1997, of course, 20 years now. And Balls was the champion from before, so we brought him back as the world champion. And in September 1997, Dean and myself, Soup, wrestled for the TV championship. The first ever, we crowned the first ever TV champion. And I believe it was Dean. And it was funny because back then, man, Dean, he was so hard to work with. Because we kind of like did a shoot fight. We started doing the backyard wrestling in 97. And we wrestled in each other's, like, our porch, back on the porch, and in our living rooms. And Dean's mother, who was so awesome, let us wrestle in her living room while she was home, and in their basement. And we didn't start recording until, I believe it was October 1997 was our first television show. It was just me and Dean. We went to a fucking 45-minute Broadway, straight up. It was cool. Because we had camera. We didn't have camera back in the 90s. I mean, it was 1997. Not everyone had a camera. And Dean's sister had the camera. and we always used it, and it was awesome. You know, the bunch of matches we had after that, which was the norm, were 30, 40 minute straight Broadways. You know, right to the end draws, because it was a shoot. We didn't predetermine, as later years. We just said, fuck it, you know, you're gonna win, you're gonna win, you're gonna win, because it made for better watching, of course. So we had our first show, big card. I mean, not on TV. I mean, it was on TV, but it was the first major super show card. It was Born to Be Hardcore. It was December 1997, and that was when Lightning Brian Nowak, who later was Suicide Kid, debuted. And I believe he went against Dean one-on-one. That was in December. Right after that, the second super show or card, I would say card because we didn't have the super shows until after First Violin Act, but the first card where we had more than me and Dean, I should say, was Soup's Birthday Bash. It was March 7th, 1998. And Balls actually, I'm sorry, he debuted at Born to Be Hardcore too. The main event was Balls, Dean versus Lightning Brian Nowak and Soup, of course, which would become Norm later on. And I love those guys, man. I love Nowak. I'm still friends with that kid to this day. 20-some years later, I've known him 27, 28 years. And Balls, my brother, of course. Dean, I talk to not even talk to, I'm sorry. Friends with him on Facebook. So that was 1997 in the winter. Like I said, at Birthday Bash, Soup's Birthday Bash, Balls would come back and wrestle one-on-one. He had a three-way with me and Dean, and then me and Dean wrestled. And then it was funny because then we started rolling in 1998. It was great. We had card after card after card, and the Bear came in, and Amazing Nate, and Tracksuit Dave, and Psycho Killer debuted in 98, and Jabbo. And it was cool. You know, we started wrestling outside, not inside anymore. We used to wrestle in the basement, and then in the living room, and then we stepped up to outside. Then we pretty much wrestled outside ever since. And it was cool. You know, just like wrestling we saw on TV, we emulated it. I modeled my character more after Reckless Youth, who was a popular independent superstar at the time. It's kind of funny because he came out, you know, thing around his neck, necklace around his neck, t-shirt, jean shorts, and he was high flyer. And that's how I wrestled. I flew all over the place when I could, because I was still a bigger, kid. But that's who I modeled. And Ric Flair. Ric Flair is my favorite. So I modeled a lot of my stuff in 99 after Ric Flair. But one major thing is, so we started rolling through 98. And, so we had Nowak, or Suicide Kid, Lightning Nowak. He became Tombstone Nowak. And like I said, we debuted Jabbo and in the summer of 98. And Psycho Killer in the fall of 98 at Second Violin Act. And everything I thought was cool, man. We went into the taboo, of course, of the bleeding in late 98. And of course, like, as you see, I have many, many, many scars. Late 98, we started bleeding. It became more of an apparent thing later on, which I'll get to. Um, but in fall of '98, we had Second Violent Act. Then we had a TV show. Um, then we had Something Extreme '98. And the funny thing is, everybody was cool. The Dean. For some reason, like, we were good friends for years. We always talked about wrestling. We would watch wrestling. We would tape trade. We would do everything. And I thought everything was cool. In May of 1998, I knew there was a breakdown. Something started happening. Dean wrestled the Bear for the TV title. It was supposed to be a restricted area, but we couldn't secure the spot, and at the last minute, we just said whatever. We had the Dean wrestle the Bear for the TV title in the rematch. Right after the match, I mean, the Bear beat him pretty good. And the Bear was pretty stiff. It was so funny. He was so stone cold. Stone Cold Steve Austin was the Bear's favorite wrestler, so he modeled a lot of stuff after Stone Cold, the Bear. And after the match, the Bear could only wrestle one match. So he went out, he wrestled the one match, he defended his TV title, he beat the Dean. After the match, we went to a different spot, and we were going to have more matches. And we were going to name it, restricted area. It ended up just being the rematch, because it was, a rematch between the Bear and the Dean from previous fight when the Bear went over and on his first night in won the TV title and the Dean in February '98. And the Dean, I don't know. We got into an argument. We went down to the corner store, which was down by my house, and we got into this big argument. And I remember hitting him with the fucking belt. Like, I just fucking hit him. Not in the head, but I hit him in the shoulder, and he was pissed. And he just walked home. He lived not too far away, probably 2-3 miles. So he just walked home and said whatever. And I thought we weren't friends anymore. He called back later, apologized, and we started wrestling after that. And right after that is when we had Restricted Area, which was one of the greatest events in HWF. And that was that after Restricted, right before Restricted Area '98. But fast forward a few months, October 1998. We had Something Extreme '98, which was so fucking funny because the main event was me and Psycho Killer versus Big Sexy and Balls in a ladder. We had a piece of rolled up chain link fence up in the tree, and we climbed the ladder to get it. Well, anyways, the other match at that was Dean versus Balls in a number one contenders tables match. And we already knew Dean was going over. He was winning the match. He was going to be number one contender. Me and him were going to have a little program after that. And I don't think I was going to drop the belt to him because he had already won the belt off of Balls earlier in the year at Extremely Dangerous '98, and kind of like a fluke win. And then he lost it very quickly back to Balls. So I wasn't going to lose the belt to him, but me and Dean had been feuding for the last 2 years because we basically restarted the old HWF from the ruins of me and my brothers. So Dean went over that night, Something Extreme. And then after that, we stopped being friends. Another funny thing about that is I'll go into later, but he started hyping Mike Extreme, Mike Rizzuto, who became an HWF classic and an HWF, fucking mainstay 4 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later. Son of a bitch. But we hyped Mike Extreme. He was supposed to show up at that event. Dean, we thought he no-showed because of some babysitter bullshit, but we found out later that Dean just told him not to come. So that was that. That could have happened 4 years fucking later or earlier than 2002 when he actually debuted and kicked ass. Because Mike Extreme, real quick, out of any backyard wrestler that I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot, backyard wrestling boomed when I started watching YouTube and finding out all about these new guys in the last bunch of years, and Mike Extreme is my favorite backyard wrestler. In our federation, besides myself, the Icon Suit, but he can take a beating, he can do moves, he can bleed, he can just do everything. Mike Extreme, man, my props to you. You're awesome. But anyways, so right after Something Extreme 98, the spot that we had, it was the Evagola Forum, I believe, or Spectrum. I think it was the Forum. We kept all of our weapons, and I kept the championship belt stupidly because Suicide Kid, props to you, he took the belt, and it would have avoided all this. Anyways, one day me and Suicide Kid walked down there right after Something Extreme 98, and everything was gone. The weapons, the belt, everything. And it was a pretty fucking hard place to get to. It was secluded, way back in the woods. So me and Suicide Kid, we walked to the Dean's house, which, like I said, wasn't too far. It's like 3 miles away. We walked. And his mom said, "Oh, he's sleeping." Like, okay, whatever. He's sleeping. We won't bother him. So we started to walk back, and it was raining. And like I said, Dean's mom was awesome, and she drove us home. Okay, so she drove us home. We didn't think nothing of it. We were like, son of a bitch, we lost all of our weapons, and we'll have to get some more. And I lost my championship belt, which was the major thing. So then after that, within like a week or two, I started hearing rumors that Dean had this championship belt, and he was carrying it around the fucking school. Like, for real. It was like a fucking soap opera, dude. Like, the school. Like, legit. Our high school. So I found out it was the HWF championship belt, and I was fucking pissed. And this was, he restarted a federation. He went down and stole all of my fucking weapons and restarted this fucking federation called Lakeshore Championship Wrestling Alliance, I think, or Lakeshore Championship Wrestling. I think it was Lakeshore Championship, it was LSCW or some shit like that. He repainted the fucking belt and started wrestling with Mike Rizzuto, Mike Extreme. I was like, what the fuck, are you kidding me? Like, you literally stole the championship. This kid was so jealous. Like, when we had our shoot fights earlier in 98, when it was not predetermined, this guy, and no disrespect, but this is the truth, like, straight up, would not want to lose. Like, I lost so many, my records, like, I used to keep track, and I have a record somewhere. It's in my closet. I moved so many times, but I still have it. It's in a binder. It has the HWF title on it. I lost so many fucking times. Because I would never, we wrestled fucking, like I said, the longest match I ever wrestled, we used to wrestle 1 hour, 2 hour fucking Broadway matches because this kid would not fucking lose. Like, we'd just go straight up, like, not give a fuck. Like, we had a 2 hour Iron Man fucking match. We watched WrestleMania 6. I'll never fucking forget it. And no fucking lie, dude. We went 2 hours, and it was like about an hour and 45 minutes, hour and 50 minutes. It was 5-5 or 6-6, something like that. And I knew this kid wasn't going to give up, so I just fucking let him pin me. He fucking took it was for the HWF TV Championship. I let him take it. He was the champ. I didn't give a fuck because I knew how he was. So This kid straight up took my HWF championship belt, all the fucking weapons, started a new goddamn federation because he did not want to lose. And very similar to WCW and WWF, he started this federation, EHW. That shit went under in 2001. My shit went under. It didn't go under until late 2002. So my shit outlasted his, and I absorbed their wrestlers. Spence Dog and fucking Mike Extreme and Plow. So it's funny. Okay, so anyways, the story is, true story, I'm telling you right now, straight up true story. I found out he had the HWF championship belt one day at school. I think this was way before Columbine and all this shit with the school shit happened. I found him outside waiting for the bus, and I was like, dude, you fucking took my fucking championship belt. I'm gonna fucking kill you right fucking now. If you don't bring it to me fucking tomorrow, I was this fucking close to killing him. I mean, punching his fucking brain in so fucking hard. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fuck you up. And I just stormed off. And it was before I had a car. I was in like 10th grade. And the next day, this was at the end of the day, the next day the principal called me into the office. And Dean, because when I walked into the principal's office, Dean was sitting there and I'm like, oh fuck, I know what this is about. And he's like, what's going on? So I told him. Principal of my high school, fucking drama, goddamn soap opera. I said, listen, no disrespect to this kid right here, but we used to be friends. We used to wrestle together, have like a backyard wrestling thing. He stole my championship belt. I'm fucking pissed. I want that fucking belt back. Principal looked at Dean. He said, did you steal this kid's this belt? Whatever. Dean said, yes. Principal, I'll never forget these words. He said, listen, I had an old garbage can when I was younger, or years ago. It was beat up, it had holes in it. One day it was gone. He said 2-3 weeks later, I noticed the neighbor down the street was using the same fucking can. He took my garbage can. I went and confronted him. I said, listen, I don't care. That's my old ass garbage can. I don't care. It has holes. It's beat. It's mine. I don't care. So he looked at Dean and he said, listen, give the kid back his belt. So Dean called his parents, had them bring the championship belt to school, give that fucker to me. Like, it had to be the best. It was like straight up like something I could have writ. Like, if me and Dean were still friends and that was fucking an angle that we were working for HWF, that we were working a program, that would have been so cool. But it was real life. Like, it was a shoot. Like, that kid stole my title, tried to get away with it, whatever. So after that, for a couple of years after that, we used to make fun of those guys because that's some crazy stuff. Who does that? You went down to the woods, you stole the fucking weapons, garbage cans, everything. Barbed wire, everything we had in there, he took. Okay, I gotta go take a pee right now, so I'm gonna take a break. So then 1999 rolls around. I think that happened, I want to say, early 99. This happened, like, with the whole altercation with Dean and me getting the championship belt back, because I didn't have it for a few months. Like, it disappeared. It was the championship, it was the HWF with no belt. Like, Dean took it, and he started yelling a new belt. Like, I got pictures on Facebook of him with this belt. He repainted it. So I get it back, 99. I kind of look at, real quick, HWF in a few different parts. 4 parts, I want to say. We had HWF to start with Dean. 98 fucking rolled. It was awesome. I think we did like 14, 15 events in 98 TV shows. Awesome. Then after that, Um, the second part was 99 through the end. Like, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, we fucking kicked fucking ass. Like, we rolled up. We did what we did. It was sweet, you know. We introduced all these new characters. And then the third part, the reunion shows. Final Violent Act, Better Off Dead. Then the fourth part would be the, like... in this day and age, we say, you know, reboot, remake, whatever. But this was the rebirth of HWF in 2014, and I think about that as the last part. You know, me and Suicide Kid, we had this couple series of matches. We got one more match in this. There'll be one more match coming up. I'm not sure if it'll be this year, probably next year, 2018. So look for it, HWF 2018. It's HWF 78. It'll be the last event ever. Look for it. But anyways, so that's the four parts as I see HWF. So when Dean was gone, bam, that was 1998. We got into 99, fucking kicked ass. Jamo stepped it up. He changed his game up. He was better. We introduced the Extreme Superstar Doug Seltzer. Crazy. Crazy. And 99 was fucking awesome too. I think we did about the same as 98. We did about 15 TV shows and specials and supercards and all that shit. And that was awesome. Like 99 was badass. You know, we had a lot of firsts. We had the ladder to hell match. We had the dog collar match between myself and Suicide Kid. Man, we had so many matches. 2 out of 3 falls. Stipulation match between Balls and Big Sexy. We had the second ever ladder to hell match with myself and Balls and Psycho Killer. I mean, we steamrolled through that shit. You know, it worked out perfectly. And another funny thing is in 1999, Balls and Big Sexy traded back the World HWF Championship. And Balls was champion, and he lost it to Big Sexy. And Big Sexy, he wrestled one more match after he won the HWF Championship title at Third Violent Act in 1999 in August against myself at Sexy's Last Stand in October 99. It was his very last match before he retired. He was moving legit out of state. He lives in Connecticut. He moved there back then. He was leaving in January 2000. So he wrestled his last match unknowingly. It was Sexy's Last Stand. And you would think, as we all knew he was leaving, I would have beat him. I would have went over on him. He would have bowed down and gave me the title, and I said no. I said, I don't want to do that. I said, this is my brother. Big Sexy's my brother, older brother. I said, I want him to leave the champion. Fuck this. Like, go out to champion, you know. He wrestled his first match in HWF against me in a strap match at First Violent Act. It was billed as a hair versus hair match, but I lost. I had this big fluffy mane. I didn't want to shave it. I said, fuck this. So that was kind of jip. Whatever. But that was it. So his first match was against me. His last one-on-one match was against me. And I said, no, I want him to win. And he retired. He moved to Connecticut. He had a son. He went on to do his thing. So we ended up giving the title, stupidly, to Psycho Killer at Fourth Violent Act in November. Like I said, we knew he was leaving, Big Sexy. And he left in January, but he ended up leaving the HWF, November 7th was his very last day. Excuse me. He wasn't there, of course, but he vacated the title. And we had the second ever Ladder to Hell match, me, Balls, and Psycho Killer, and it was whatever. I bled all over the place. Balls bled all over the place. Psycho Killer, he whatever. But whatever, we gave it to Psycho Killer out of respect for my brother, but Big Sexy, because that was his friend. Psycho Killer was my brother Big Sexy's friend, and I gave him the title out of respect. I said, you know what, you're my brother's friend. I'm going to give you the title. And then he left us. He just retired. He said, I'm not going to wrestle anymore. He's like, your brother's not around, so, whatever. But years later, he was begging to be our friend. So I was like, whatever. So we just said, all right, Psycho Killer, thank you for wrestling with us. He had a couple good matches. As a wrestler, he was so, but he had some fucking awesome matches. I just put out the HWF top 15 greatest matches of all time on YouTube. Check it out. And Psycho Killer, for whatever quirks he had and whatever suckiness he had and whatever, had the top 4 match of all time with Big Sexy, and that was his debut. He came in and rocked the house, and I remember I filmed it. It's not on YouTube yet, but it's coming up. It was a good match. It was him and Big Sexy. The rematch was just at Beach Party 99, which I'm sorry, I just put on YouTube, in a Weapons Around the Ring match, which was, it was okay. But their first match, 20-minute match, it was great. Big Sexy came out the winner. It was good. So, we steamrolled into 2000, and 2000 was kind of the flaky year for us. We had 98 and 99. At 97, we started. 98, we went viral, I should say. Not into this internet world, but we started recording our shit. So 98 and 99, we were fucking straight up. We had, like I said, 15 events in each year. 2000, we growing up a little bit. Became a senior in high school. My brother had graduated. We only had about 5 or 6 events that year, but they were great. We had one of the greatest events ever. I didn't include it in the 15 greatest events of all time, with the 5 honorable mentions, I should say. Or 10, I think it was 15, no, 10? Whatever it was. I think it was 10 greatest events of all time, I should say. I think it was 10 greatest events of all time. Whatever. Because we don't have videotape of it. The video got ruined. It was in my room, and soda spilled over on it, and it just ruined it. But that was Violence is Good 2000, by the way. But we only had about 5 or 6 events that year. 2001, we went right into 2001. Jabbo. I gotta say Jabbo. That motherfucker, I love Jabbo. I've been friends with that kid for almost 20 years now. Maybe, yeah, about 20 years now, right? Jabbo, shout out to you, Jabbo, 20 years. That guy could go. He created the Professor Jabbo gimmick at the end of 2000, going into 2001. And like I said, Violence is Good 2000 was ruined, and he debuted it at that event. He went in a great match with Balls. And then they had their fucking rematch at Beach Party 2001. And that was the second greatest match of all time. Jabbo was, he went, like, he could take an ass whooping. He could give an ass whooping when it came to, he's a happy father of 2 right now, and he's a good dude. Like, he was at my wedding, and, yeah, he could go, man. He could bleed. He started bleeding, and he was just like, it was just like, whatever, man. He could take an ass whooping, and that match against Balls, I believe he had a couple matches with Balls, and then he stopped wrestling. He came back at the end of 2001. After Dark 2001, I believe, he wrestled Livesey. He wrestled fucking Livesey. um, Balls, and the Extreme Icon, Dave Seltzer. Excuse me, Doug. Sorry. Dave Seltzer. Awesome. Jabba was cool. Mike Livesey came in 2001. He fucking was a powerhouse. Stiff as shit. He dropped a fucking leg drop on Doug Seltzer that I will never forget. And the Gimp debuted in 2001. Scrappy little motherfucking kid. I love the Gimp. He was my ex-girlfriend at the time. Or my girlfriend at the time, ex-girlfriend or whatever. Of course, because I'm married. Little brother, he was like 11. But that fucking kid was tall and he can scrap. And Livesey gave him the fucking stiffest shot to the fucking head with a forearm I've ever seen in my life. Like, straight, like, he just fucking nailed him. Fucking Gimp. The Boxer debuted 2001. I brought him in, or actually, he was friends with Suicide Kid. Suicide Kid brought him in, who was his friend, and that kid was a trip. Like, he was a straight up legit, like, boxer. He ended up having the infamous boxing fight, which is on YouTube. Go check it out. Fucking brutal. Him and Weed Man, who came in 2001, the day after Christmas, Fifth Violent Act, fucking brutalized each other in 2002 at EHW HWF Invasion. And it was crazy, man. The boxer, you know, for all his brutal, straight-up skills, Weed Man came in, scrapped the fuck out of him, and sent Boxer home. Like, he ended up punching the boxer. The boxer nose started bleeding, and he was afraid of his own blood or whatever. But then he's like, I can't do it. I'm done. I got bloody. So Weed Man won. They were supposed to have their rematch at Beach Party 2002, and Weed Man no-showed. He ended up moving out of the town we were at into the city with his current wife right now, because she believed I was pregnant. Shout out to Weed Man, and Sarah, his wife. I love you. But he ended up no-showing. He was just gone. I was like, what the fuck happened to the Weed Man? Like, he was just gone. And he was pretty dedicated. Like, he debuted in 2001 at Fifth Violent Act, and he wrestled about 3 or 4 or 5 shows right in a row. He wrestled Suicide Kid for the World Championship at one point. He had a hell of a 3-way dance. He had a couple 3-way dances. And that boxing fight, like I said. He wrestled me for the TV title at one point. Fucking Weed Man, he was awesome. He didn't really watch wrestling or know a lot about wrestling, but he was one of my best friends. So he was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I'll wrestle with you. Let's do it, you know? Weed Man was a trip. Then I want to say, like, 2001, we started having our fucking awesome matches. Beach Party 2001 was amazing. Probably one of the greatest events of all time. I think it was voted the greatest event of all time in HWF. Summer of 2001, like I said, Gimp debuted. I won the TV championship, which, the trouble back in the day was we had no cell phones and we had no communication, so we would only be able to call each other's house and be like, hey, is somebody so-and-so there? And if they weren't there, they didn't show up. As of today, you could text or call or blah, blah, blah. Facebook, FaceTime, Messenger. It was harder. So a lot of people no-showed. So I would end up, Jabbo would no-show a lot, and Doug would no-show a lot because they lived far away from us before we had cars and stuff. and it was just the way it was back in the day. You know, it was tough because that was how it was. Uh, you know, that was 2001, and I'm gonna get into 2002 here. I think the tape's gonna here end up coming to a stop here, so I'm gonna have probably a part two, and in part two I'm gonna go into the 2002, and when my boy Mike Extreme came in and the whole story with that. But man, 2001 and the superstar Dave Seltzer debuted, Doug's brother. And he came to fight, man. He debuted at Ultra Clash, and go check out that three-way tag team title match with him. It was a fucking blast. I'll get back at you. This is the Icon Soup. All right, I'll talk to you later. This is 2017 HWF. Peace.